I was sharing with some of you here this morning. For those that came in a little late, on the first Sunday of the month of December, that'll be December 5th, we will be having our Christmas dinner here and service. So that's going to be kind of exciting. And come with an empty stomach in the morning, because it shall be filled. I was sharing with some this morning, last night I was in Obima at the men's service. They had a special, they've been having revival meetings up there all week, and it was powerful. Out of Nestor Eagles Vision Black Church. They come over the van in a carload from Edmonton too, and it was just a powerful service to see all the men there. I stopped by your house, Lloyd, to try and pick you up, but there was no one home. See if you'd come with me too. But God moved so powerfully, and it was so exciting to see this huge church full of men worshiping the Lord and with great conviction and deliberate contemplations of their words, saying, we are going to serve the Lord, and we're going to make a difference in our churches. Because one of the great things the preacher from Thunder Bay was preaching about was our churches are so full of women and so few men that serve the Lord. And I was sharing with some of the people here since 2000. I've been having connections with the Obima Full Gospel Church, and I've seen it go from just a few men now to a huge congregation of many, many men, and a lot of young men too, on fire for the Lord. And it's just so wonderful to see. And it was just awesome to be there last night and participate with them. And of course, Wally was there too, leading the worship, and it was just neat. If you, I have a request too. I feel God is calling us to get closer to Him and to just be more in His presence. And so I would like, if you feel that you could ask the Lord about that, if you would just start slowly, if some of you have never done this before in fasting, if you would just take one meal this week, and say, I'm going to fast this meal, and I'm going to pray. And I'm going to seek the Lord to be in His presence and just get close to Him. And dedicate just that time, that one meal, to fast and pray, be in the presence of the Lord, and see what He speaks to you and what He does in your life. If you would turn with me as we continue on in our series through Proverbs to Proverbs chapter 10. Solomon, writing to his sons, has now come to the place of where he's going to teach them through a series of contrasts about wisdom and what is good and what is right. And we'll pick it up in chapter 10, starting in verse 2, and as he's giving them instruction in this series of contrasts, he starts it like this. A righteous right living can save your life, but ill-gotten gain has no lasting value. I could speak lots about this. Over the years, I have seen many people who have gotten finances through means that are, as one friend of mine says, Dan, you can't call that person a crook. He said, you got to stop talking that way. About 4 years ago, this fellow told me. He said, this is the way you got to put it. It's just a little less than honest. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dan, he said, You're a minister, you can't talk that way. You got to be more refined. I said, oh, okay. So he's just a little less than honest. Okay. And Solomon's saying to his sons, says, if the person's just a little less than honest or a crook, this is no way to gain money, and it won't last. But if you live right, you'll save your life. And he also says to his sons, the Lord will not let the godly starve to death, but he refuses to satisfy the craving of the wicked. They're living a wicked life, and they have cravings. God's not going to satisfy them. He's not going to bless them. And he refuses to let the righteous starve to death. And hard workers, they get rich and gain finances. But lazy people are soon poor. And how often have you seen that and testified to that? I wish I actually forgot it, but I'll kind of paraphrase it. I was sent from the Wild Rose Alliance Party. One of the senior members sent me an email this week, and it was kind of interesting and bemusing. I wish I'd brought it with. But it went something like this. And it was talking about how in the liberal scheme of things and in the NDP scheme of things, and sometimes in the church scheme of things, we have a mentality that we should take from the hardworking or the rich and give to the poor. And the reason I was bemused by that is because one of my daughters, who is attending university in her second year in Winnipeg, she is teaching me all this stuff that she's learning in the university, and how us white Caucasian males have taken advantage of everybody else on this earth, and we need to be curtailed. And we have some interesting discussions on this. And anyway, in this letter, this father had a daughter that was going to university, and she was learning all these things too, and bringing them home, and saying how, that they need to take the finances from those that work hard and acquire them and give it to the poor and to those who have none. And so this father in this story, this email they sent me, thought about this for a while. And he said to his daughter, you work really hard at university, and you have what grade average? And she says, Dad, I work very, very hard. I spend a lot of time. All my evenings, I don't go out, I study, and I have a 4-point grade average, which is very high. So, anyway, the daddy, quiet for a minute, and he says to his daughter, he says, now applying the principle which you're trying to teach me here, he says, your friend, and he gives a name, he says, what is her grade point average? Well, it's 2. Well, why is her grade point average 2? Well, it's 2 because she goes out and parties, and she's not diligent at what she does, and she does this and that, and doesn't feel like doing this now, so she doesn't study and doesn't work. So she has a low grade point average. And he said, how will that affect her later in life? Well, she's not going to get the good jobs when she gets out of university, because she didn't apply herself, and she doesn't know much, and all the companies, the good companies, are going to hire the best, the cream of the crop. Okay, that says. Now applying this principle that you have just stated to me on finances, and how we should take it from all the hardworking people and tax them to death and take their money away and give it to the poor that aren't working, let me suggest this to you, my daughter. Since you have a 4-point grade average and she has a 2, you are rich, she is poor, would you go to your university professor and would you say to him, would you take 1 point off of mine and add 1 point onto hers, so then you both have 3-point grade averages? Well, she said, absolutely not. Why should I give away what I've worked hard for to someone who won't work at all? And then in the story it says the dad smiled and the daughter got the point. is profit to it. And it gains us wealth and prosperity and finances. And those that refuse to work hard and apply themselves diligently are soon poor. And it goes on to say, the next verse, a wise youth works hard all summer. But a youth who sleeps away the hour of opportunity brings shame. And I hope, my son, if you're watching this on YouTube, you won't be offended with me sharing this, but I had a son, my oldest son, or have a son. And he decided to go to college. And, you know, he could have gone and got loans and a scholarship. I think he actually did get one in his second year. But he worked hard. He'd come home and through the summer, and he'd work 3 jobs, up to 3 jobs. And had bought an extra vehicle, and I'd give him one to use. And sometimes it annoyed me a little bit, son, when it was below empty when you brought it home. But he worked hard, and he paid his way through. And when he finished college, 4 years, he had no debts. And you know, the Bible says if you work hard when it's time to work in the summer, you'll prosper in it, and you'll be wise. But someone who brings shame, they just let everybody else pay for what you do. And that's wrong. The godly are showered with blessings, and evil people cover up their harmful intentions. That is a given. If someone doesn't have a right heart and they want to take advantage of someone, they always are covering it up and come with words that are kind of smooth and slick and lead you in a different direction to cover up what they really have intentions of. But God says the godly will receive my blessings. And he tells his son that people have happy memories, good memories of the righteous. But they do not have good memories of the wicked, and their memories rot away. Here's an interesting thing he tells his sons. The wise are glad to be instructed, but babbling fools fall flat on their face. Did you know that's a mark of understanding and wisdom? If you'd like to receive instruction, and fools don't like instruction. You met people like that. You probably know people like that. They just babble. You get to visit with them or go to talk to them, and they babble on and on and on about nothing and anything. And if you try and tell them something, they won't listen. So you just got to sit there and listen to them and hope you can get a word in every once in a while. But they just carry on and on and on. But Solomon, instructing his sons, says, no. You see someone that is glad to receive instruction, you know they're wise. And they will gain that instruction, and they will be even wiser. People with integrity have firm footing. But those who follow crooked paths and have no integrity, they slip and fall. And people who wink at wrong cause trouble. But a bold reproof